Hi, welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. 888-589-8840. Number to call if you would like to join the program. 888-589-8840. Let's grab, while we're on the subject of environmental, let's talk about the fifth Tesla car in the last 5 months bursting into flames. Those are $100,000 vehicles. And I think it's the Tesla. I don't know if it's the Karma or the Tesla. One of those things, if the battery pack goes out, if it dies, it becomes a brick. You can't even roll it. You have to have a tow truck. You have to have a crane come out and lift the car up onto a flatbed. And then to replace the battery pack is something like $35,000. Anyway, that's going on with the Tesla. I don't know if you heard about this. The world's largest solar plant is now in operation in the desert in Nevada. President Obama gave this outfit, NRG Energy Company, Bright Source Energy, which is a part of the Google empire. So President Obama gave it a whole bunch of money. So this is the world's largest solar farm in the world. And it is frying birds. It's frying birds because it's generating so much heat from all these reflective mirrors. You have this giant patch of desert with all these reflecting mirrors. And I'm not laughing at the destruction of the birds. I'm laughing at the folly of environmentalists because wind turbines are just bird blenders. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of birds and bats and bald eagles and golden eagles and predators are being shredded by these wind turbines. They're just bird blenders. And now we find out that the solar plants are bird fryers. They're just frying these poor birds in mid-flight. This is from Breitbart. A solar power plant that is the largest of its type in the world and can supply power for 140,000 homes is also killing dozens of birds. This is the Ivanpah Solar Electric Generating System, which uses hundreds of thousands of mirrors. I think every one's about the size of a garage door. This is near the California-Nevada border. It's capable of producing nearly 400 megawatts, but it's roughly 350,000 solar thermal computer-controlled mirrors which reflect sunlight to boilers on top of 459-foot towers. That's how tall those Transworld Radio transmitting towers are. So these mirrors reflect the sunlight up to these boilers that are on the top of these towers, and it's killed dozens of birds because it generates 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit temperature around the towers. So the birds are just kind of flying along. They hit this solar farm and they just get zapped. So they're finding all these bird carcasses at the base of all of these towers. Now let's grab clip number one if we can, Rob. I've got a whole stack of stuff on Obamacare. How much we're going to be able to get to, I don't know. But here is a clip from a commentator on MSNBC on Reverend Al Sharpton's program. He's never had any seminary training, by the way. He's not ordained. He calls himself Reverend Al, but I don't believe he's ever been ordained or even educated in seminary. He's talking here with Victoria DeFrancesco Soto, who is a fellow. She's a female, but she's called a fellow at the Center for Politics and Governance at the LBJ School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas. So the topic of Obamacare and what would Jesus do with regard to Obamacare came up. And here's how Victoria DeFrancesco Soto answered the question about Obamacare, what would Jesus do? Let's listen.
Reverend, I would ask Michelle Bachmann, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus want to turn away people with pre-existing conditions? Would Jesus want to see millions upon millions of people who do not have access to affordable health care go without? I would aspire to think that the answer is no. And more importantly for the GOP, where is that compassion in the conservatism that they so espouse in being a more religious party? So I'm just dumbfounded when Michelle Bachmann brings God into the equation, because what would a divine God, what would Jesus do in an instance like this?
So she says that Jesus would support Obamacare, and I would say Jesus would not. I flatly disagree with her for the simple reason that Jesus is opposed to theft. Jesus is opposed to stealing. God is opposed to stealing. God is opposed to theft. And the only way that Obamacare can work is through stealing. It's through theft. It's through the legalized plunder, the involuntary transfer of wealth. Now, the scriptures teach the transfer of wealth. We believe in the transfer of wealth as long as it is voluntary, as long as people motivated by compassion, motivated by generosity, motivated by the promptings of the Holy Spirit, motivating by a heart that it's moved to alleviate suffering. People give of their own resources. We believe in that. We teach that. The Bible teaches that. Jesus teaches that. Jesus taught us to have that concern for the poor come out of our own wallets, out of our own resources. We believe in the voluntary transfer of wealth. That's biblical. That's Christian. The involuntary transfer of wealth, there is nothing Christian about it. It is socialist. In fact, it's communist, really, because it involves taking resources from people at the point of a gun and giving them to somebody else. So if you can't do that to your neighbor, let's say you've got, your neighbor's got a health care need. You cannot go to your neighbor on the other side of your house and stick them up at gunpoint and take money out of their wallets to give it to your other neighbor so he can go to the hospital and take care of his health care needs. Just because your motive is right, just because your intentions are good, you want to help somebody with their health care needs, does not license theft. It doesn't justify stealing. So what would Jesus do? Jesus would be flatly opposed to theft. Violates the eighth commandment, thou shalt not steal. The only way Obamacare can work is through the involuntary transfer of wealth. He, I believe, would be flatly opposed to it. Now, maybe you have heard about, you remember President Obama saying, look, I had no idea there were problems with Obamacare. I didn't know anything about that. I found out about it the same time you did. We have a low information president. I didn't know about it till I read it on the news, just like you. Now we find out that in 750 pages of documents obtained by the political website The Hill showed that Sebelius met with or attended calls and events with President Obama at least 18 times in the last year before Obamacare went live. At least 7 of these when both were scheduled to discuss the new health care law. So she's with Obama 18 times. We know that from documents that come from the administration. And 7 of those times, the specific topic of discussion was the health care law. On top of that, Sebelius had breakfast or lunch with Obama advisor Pete Rouse at least 3 times, had a number of calls and appointments with close Obama confidant Valerie Jarrett, as well as White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough. Additionally, she met with senior healthcare advisor Chris Jennings at least 7 times. Now, there's only 2 explanations for this. Either Kathleen Sebelius is incompetent to a degree that makes her unfit to hold any position in public service. She ought to be cashiered immediately. Or President Obama is telling a bald-faced lie to the American people. And I'm going to go with option B. I don't think there's any way that President Obama did not know about the problems with the website. Well, let's grab a couple of phone calls. Let us go to Jan in Conway, Arkansas. Jan, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Jan, are you with me?
I just turned on and heard y'all talking about the snakes.
Yes.
When Jesus was being tempted by the devil, and he said, jump down, he said, it won't hurt you, God will take care of you, you know. He said, it's not to tempt the Lord thy God. And to pick up a snake and say, I can pick up a snake and it won't bite me, to me, that's tempting the Lord.
Yeah.
I think if it was like Paul that got on him, that's a different story, you know.
All right, Jan.
I'm not taking it out of my Bible because I believe it's in there for a reason. But I don't think we're supposed to pick them up just to say we can do it. To me, that's tempting the Lord.
Okay, good. I appreciate that, and I agree with you, Jan. Thank you for the call, and I think you're exactly right. And that's what, you know, Ricky, even though he believes in the authenticity of Mark 16, at the end of Mark 16, believes that it was original to Mark's gospel, he still agrees that what this snake handler did is he was testing the Lord as God, and that is something that we are forbidden to do. So grab a call from Christopher, Richmond, Virginia. Christopher, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Christopher, are you with me? Christopher, let me have you turn your radio down, make sure we don't get any interference there.
All right, sorry.
Okay, you bet. Go right ahead.
All right. I don't understand how you can say that Obamacare is a theft to support other people's health care, and that people should be charitable out of their own
So you do not
free will.
Okay, I want to be sure I understand what you're saying. You are denying that Obamacare is legalized theft.
No, Obamacare is not legalized theft.
It's not theft. It's not stealing.
No.
Okay, why is that? If let me ask you this.
It's what Jesus would have done.
Whoa, wait. Christopher, hold on. What Jesus would have done is given money out of his own wallet.
You got killed for it.
Hold it. What was that?
Sorry.
What was that? Okay. All right, Chris, we got to let you go. I have no idea what's going on in the background there. Sounds like maybe a 911 call is the appropriate response there. Anyway, let's go to John in Southern Illinois. John, thank you for calling Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hello, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is John. Last time I called, I was so flabbergasted that I didn't know what I was going to say. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Well, I listen to your show every day. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe he is president of my life. He's helped me get where I'm at today. And I wish he was president in more people's lives. It might turn the world around. And I hear your show every day, and I just wonder how much worse everything is going to get, before we actually listen to what's going on in the world. I tell you, I listen to rock and roll sometimes. I listen to country, and I listen to other types of music, but if I could get your show on every second of the day, I would never listen to rock and roll again.
Well, John, that's the nicest thing that anybody's ever said to me in my life.
Well, I tell you, I like to hear the truth. I like to hear it coming from your show. The other day when that other person was on your show,
yes,
and you was in Cuba, I turned the radio off. It's just not the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate that, John, very much. Thank you so much for that. And we had some great guest hosts. I appreciate what John is saying, but I also appreciate the work that Gina Loudon did filling in for me, and Frank Turek, both of them exceptionally good hosts, and I really appreciate the work they did. Got a lot of good feedback on the work that both of them did, so very grateful they gave me the time to go to Cuba. Focal Point After Talk. We'll be right back. Stay with us.